Hi, we've got to the very last recorded reflection, and here we go. This is, we're in 2 Peter 3, and I've used the Message translation, and it just talks about Christ returning, about him coming back, and are we ready? And when I started to think about how I might illustrate this, I thought, well, what does get ready look like? So I went on the internet, I googled ready, and there was people getting up and people getting dressed, and that didn't feel right. So I went onto a free stock image site called Unsplash, and I'll put a link below if you're on YouTube to their website. And you can use their stock images, and when you're recording videos, you've got to be really careful about what images you use, because they're copyright of the person that made them. And there was, when I typed in the word ready, a balloon, a hot air balloon came up, and the fact that it was on its side and it was filling with it was being filled with air, and the burner was on, and that, I thought, that's it, that's what I want to use to illustrate it. So I printed off the image, and I've used that to trace this image. So I've also done it in a Bible art journaling kind of practice book, which, if you're weary about going straight into a Bible, this is a really great thing to do. So a lady called Sandy Allnock, she is American, has come out with this amazing book called Bible Journaling Made Simple. She's got her own YouTube channel, I'll link that below as well. She is super amazing, and every Sunday she produces a new journaling video. And she's also, her proper job, her full-time job, not a ministry, is she's an artist, and she uses Copic markers. But she doesn't use Copic markers in her Bible, clearly. She uses a lot of watercolour and pencils. And along with that book comes this book, upside down, and it's a creative workbook, and it's got Bible pages in it, and some of them are printed, some of it is plain, but they've all got margins in. And then towards the back there are completely blank pages. I don't know whether the camera will, can you see? So in this Bible workbook, I have created this image, which doesn't come up very well on this camera, but it's a good way of practicing working on Bible paper before you jump into your Bible yourself. She uses it a lot in her videos to practice the ones she's going to do on the screen with her audience. I haven't practiced any of these videos because I want it to be spontaneous, like it would be for you guys sitting down doing it. So that's where we're at. We're going to do that today, and I'm really sorry I keep forgetting to introduce myself. My name's Lisa Noon. I'm sure you know that by now. I'm the creator founder of Nouveau Debut. We do workshops, Bible journaling resources and kits, and the summer kit is on sale now, and this is July 2019. So let's just still ourselves for a moment, maybe close your eyes, relax. So here we go. This is a slightly long video. Even though I've sped it up, it's still 15 minutes. It took me nearly an hour to do this image, but I really enjoyed that time with God. So I'm just showing you again the book by Sandy Allnock, a few of the pages there before we start, and then I'm just going to open up the Bible journaling workbook, and I've sped it up now. So this is the image from Unsplash that I started with, and I was going to put it underneath and trace it, but it wasn't particularly clear. So I've grabbed a piece of my favourite tracing paper, which is W.H. Smith's tracing paper, and I'm just tracing the image now with a pencil, and I've secured the paper so I don't have to worry about moving around with some paper clips. So I'm assuming that we can all trace. Having said that, a lot of the kids that I teach can't trace. So I'm turning it back on the back and I'm scribbling a layer of graphite. Now you can buy transfer paper, but I'm just scribbling on the back with my pencil and adding a layer of graphite, a layer of lead, so that when I put it onto my workbook, so I've just put some paper underneath so that I can see nice and clearly, and I'm just using my paper clips again to clip it in. And all I'm doing now is I'm going over the original lines quite firmly with the pencil, and what will happen is it will transfer the graphite from underneath onto the page that I'm working on. And you can use this technique with anything. And just going back to the original image, the balloon, Unsplash is a very, very good, unsplash.com is a very, very good website for royalty-free images that you can use for your own purposes. You can use it for commercial, you can use it for painting. So if you want something to paint or draw and then you're going to publish it online or use it as a part of something, that's a very good place to get their images. So now you can't see with this light very well, but there is an image on there of a balloon. I've just grabbed my artist pen and I'm just going over the original pencil lines with my artist pen, and because I've sped it up to 800 it's quite jerky, but you get the idea. I've gone around it all in artist pen. So what I'm going to use on this to put the underlying colours, I'm just fixing it with my heat tool. Hairdryer will do. I'm going to use Neocolor 2. I'm just writing in my own writing the word ready and a question mark. Am I ready? I'm just thickening up the edges there, so that's called faux calligraphy, but I'm by no means a lettering expert. When I do the lettering in the kits, it takes me quite a while to get it right. So these Neocolor 2 look like wax crayons. They feel like wax crayons when you colour with them, but they're water soluble. And there are lots of water soluble crayons on the market, but these are just my favourite. They're so pigmented, but they are artist quality, so they're a bit more expensive. But Reeve do a good set, which are a lot cheaper. So I'm colouring in the basket and I'm using 2 colours of brown just to give you a bit of shadow and different areas on the balloon I'm going to colour in. And I'm just really laying down a layer of colour. And what I'm going to do in a minute is water activate that with a brush. And there are other ways that you can use these crayons. So you can use a wet brush on the end of the crayon and pick the colour up like you would do on a watercolour pencil crayon. One of the ways to do it. That's another thing you could use for this, a watercolour pencil crayon. You could equally just use crayons, and if you're making it smaller, so this workbook is around about A4 size, so that's an A4 printout. A Bible obviously would be smaller. You'd be working smaller, so it wouldn't be so much of an area to cover with a pencil crayon. So I'm continuing to add this base colour on here. It was a real great time with God actually this hour that it took me to do this image. When I'm filming, what I tend to do is I just set my camera up, start it off, and then you see exactly what I'm doing. So I don't plan it as such, I don't practice it, you are just seeing me journaling for real. So hence the state of my desk, the way that sometimes I'm pausing and thinking, because I'm showing you what I would do if I was Bible journaling. So what I've done with the red is I've wet my very large brush, and I love this brush. It's a can't remember what make it is. It's a Daler Rowney, that's it, and it's a student quality brush, and it's just lovely. There's a story behind this brush, but anyway, I'll tell you that in a minute. So I'm drying each colour between the applications so that it doesn't run into each other. And I've got a smaller brush there, I can't remember what make that is, but it's just a smaller brush so I can get into the tiny spaces. So the story about the big brush, so the Daler Rowney brush, I was away in Derbyshire at a cottage that I visit quite often, and I was out walking and with my husband, and I found 2 paintbrushes, 2 artist quality brushes, 2 artist brushes rather, on the floor, and I looked around to see if there was anybody about that had dropped them, and there was nobody within miles of us. So I picked them up thinking, oh, they'll not be very good. And on the way back I lost one. It fell out of my pocket, but this Daler Rowney one stayed in my pocket, and it's turned out to be one of my favourite brushes, and as a result I went and bought some of the other the same makeup brushes but in smaller sizes, and they're just lovely and they're affordable. They hold quite a lot of water as well. So I'm just adding now to the background. I'm trying to show a shadow, and I'm trying to show that where the light from the burner is, it's lighting the grass up. I've done different greens and different layers of yellow into the greens, and hoping that it will blend. I put a bit of a shadow behind the basket because that's what would have happened with the basket. I'm just mopping some up because it's still Bible pages, even though it's not a Bible. So it's a great way. I love this workbook. It's a great way of getting used to working on Bible pages if you're a bit scared to start with. And I'm just getting a piece of printer paper. I'm grabbing my iron that I've turned the steam off, and just as I would do in a Bible, ironing the page as flat as possible. Just so you're aware that if you forget and don't activate your wax crayons, this is when it'll all come off. So now I'm going to work on top. I'm adding, just be careful working straight away onto the page after you bind it, because it'll be warm and it will melt the crayons because they are wax based. So I'm just adding some extra colours in the sky now. I'm trying to mimic the sky behind without putting any of the detail in, because I really like the pink to blue that's going off there. But on the original image there's lots of little buildings in the background. I didn't want to do that. I wanted the focus to be on the balloon and the thought about the balloon getting ready to fly off. And are we ready for when Jesus returns? Are we actually ready? And I'm not sure I am. I don't know about you. That's why I put a question mark. Are we ready to meet Jesus if he walked in to our place of work, into the local restaurant or cafe, or even into our church on a Sunday? Are we ready to meet him? I'm drying it all off now. I'm ironing it again. I'm just touching up bits now, just adding touch-up pieces, because as I've worked, things haven't quite come out as well. And you have to be careful using a artist pen on top of these wax crayons. If you notice, every so often I'll scribble it off, because the waxy residue comes off and it wrecks your pen. So make sure that if you've used these pens with wax, that you keep scribbling it off before you put it away. And now I'm just adding some pencil crayons on top, just to give it a bit more of a boost, of a bit more of the shade. I really did enjoy this time. It was an hour. I don't very often get an hour with God like that. In fact, most of these videos, was the actual Bible journaling bit was recorded on one day, and I had the most amazing day. Just sat at my desk with all my art materials around me, and just looking through the devotionals, thinking about what to draw, spending time with God and reflecting. And because while I'm doing this, I've got a sermon or a talk on my computer, I'm actually doubly learning, because I'm doing the reflection and I'm also listening to a new word of God. So it's pretty amazing. So as we come to almost the end of this one, I just want to tell you there'll be a new kit out in the autumn, late September, early October. You'll find details on my website. What I also want to say, that it's been really great to spend time with you, and I'm hoping that you like the style of videos, you like the fact that I've put an intro on, even though I'm really struggling to do that, and you wouldn't believe it because I'm a teacher, but it's the old eye contact thing. And I hope you'll bear with me, because in a minute there's going to be some epic music, and I felt that this video ought to end with this epic piece of music. It's called Epic, and it's a bit like the Roman centurions coming in, just to show that as we get to the end of this 8 lessons together, this 8 reflections together, that we spent the most amazing epic time together, time with God, time with each other. And just comment below improvements, things that you like, things you didn't like. Message me via Facebook or through my website. with any comments and any suggestions. So just finishing this off now, and then you will see the final result. So this is me signing off for the final time, and thanks for your support, and see you in the autumn, if not before, in person at New Wine, or maybe somewhere else at different festivals that I'm at. So you take care, enjoy your time with God, and thank you for supporting this channel and this company.